for Hughes, who's got the right side of Goss from his point of view. Kanchelskis. He's got such optimism in his play. On from Hughes, Robson reaches it on the stretch and fires it flashingly across the face of goal.
I suggested earlier that perhaps Robbo may be the one who sits there, but I think he's showing even at 36, Martin, that perhaps he's feeling he's got a point to prove, that he can still get in there and be a threat as he was. Look at that, perfectly timed run to a perfectly way to choose pass, but United have no one going in on the end of it.
Now Hughes. Keane. Almost through for Ince. Norwich dallying, but in the end it was Bowen who got it away. Bruce pressed by Sutton, who realised that he could chase on here. And look at Schmeichel. Well, any outfield player would have been really proud of that. He lifted the ball in the air beyond Chris Sutton and then smacked it away to safety.
I don't think we need any other candidates for skill of the week there, do we? I mean, you can see him struggling, Steve Bruce. Doesn't give his goalkeeper the best of pass backs, but what was this for a cam head? Look at that. See you later, Chris. And I'll just volley it clear. Cool as you like.
Here's Giggs. Roy Keane, who's come to the far post. Keith Hackett will have nothing about the penalty appeal and was concentrating on the subsequent shot by Kanchelskis.
I think Roy Keane's suggesting that big Rob Newman there stuck his elbow into him as he was challenging for the ball. But he's a big lad, Rob Newman, and when he makes his mind up, he stands firm. And he does take some shifting.
And has to kick and does well. Guided off by Sutton. Goss missed it, to the disappointment of the crowd. And a free kick taken from the wrong place by Manchester United. Robson making a surge at the free kick, a reminder of bygone times. Of course, he did score in the last game of last season at Wimbledon at Selhurst Park. A fairy tale finish for him, for a bits and pieces season. Owen takes the corner. Keane. Hughes, there's no flag from the linesman. Gunn backpedaling. It comes for Giggs. It nestles in the corner of the net. And the champions have taken the lead at Carrow Road. Very untidy from the Norwich point of view. Ryan Gunn feels aggrieved. Ryan Giggs is delighted.
I think Ryan Gunn will be disappointed with his own contribution to this. Rob Newman doesn't win the header on the back post, that's crucial, but Mark Hughes doesn't give it up. Look at the way he hooks it, but watch Brian Gunn trying to push it over his own crossbar. All he succeeds in doing is pushing it onto the bar, straight back to Giggs, and he picks the spot quite beautifully. And in a really tight game, it really did look as if a set piece would be the one. Keane does ever so well to keep the ball in play there, so does Hughes, but watch again, backpedaling, Brian Gunn tries to put it over the bar, only succeeds in teeing up Ryan Giggs. You see there Hughes, the way he retrieves that right on the byline. Brian Gunn, whether you class it as being a little bit unfortunate or bad goalkeeping, it's a hard one. You see how the way he's backpedaling. You see what his intention was, but look at the gap that Giggs had there. 5 players in that near post, he just strikes it into the far corner.
And now Norwich charged with breaking down the defence, which was the cornerstone of Manchester United's Championship challenge. We talk all glowingly about the attacking skills, and rightly so, but we shouldn't forget how grudging they were at the back. But here's Giggs in again. Linesman's flagging. Keith Hackett, I don't think has seen it. He's seen it now, and he's just indicated to the linesman Norwich had the ball and could go on and want to go on.
But Ryan Giggs, you're right, the linesman's flag went up immediately. I think had he scored, he was offside, but you can see, look at the intelligence of this lad. He knows exactly what he's trying to do.
Here's Crook. Sutton calling for it. Backing on, and that was a shame for Norwich. Chris Sutton getting rather frustrated at the moment. Trying to be the focal point for Norwich in their attack. And finding as he throws his weight into the contest, the referee more often than not is penalising him.
Well, it always happens when there's a contest like that. There's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other at times. I'd just like to see in that situation though, Chris Sutton, just as the ball's been delivered, run a bit now, just step a yard away from Paul Parker to give himself a little bit more room to come and attack it.
And Robson, not to be denied. Keane. Quite prepared to move out into a wider position if required. He's ended up on the floor in the penalty area. The contact on him was certainly outside of it. It's a very interesting mix in midfield for Manchester United today, with the talents of Keane at their disposal.
It is, and I just noticed actually Keith Hackett didn't give this decision. Rob Newman plays it past Culverhouse, but just watch there as he switches in. The contact was there, Keith Hackett was waving play on, but the linesman a lot closer had his flag up for a free kick.
Taken by Giggs, drilled towards the near post. Gunn anticipated that, blocked it with his body, with half an eye on the presence of Paul Ince.
It was a great run from Ince, it really was. He was alive, he was alert, he made Giggs' mind up for him.
Now Ryan Giggs will take the corner. Keane's challenge, as it was in the corner from the other side, that led to Manchester United taking the lead. Hughes, Ince trying to get there, determined defending by Ian Butterworth for Norwich. Giggs, the threat so apparent, and so many players gambling on it for Manchester United in the centre, including Brian Robson. They go in there with such optimism when Giggs is one-on-one in a wide position. Get another cross in here. Hughes going towards the near post. Robson coming in behind him, but pushing as he did so.
I think the ref's right, Robbo.
He was pushing me as well.
Something like that. You missed out a couple of words, but I mean, I'll give you that. But I think right. I mean, it was a great run from Robson, but just using his arm a little bit. It's amazing. Ryan Giggs, George Best mentioned before the game, something I agree totally with. The weakest part of his game, I feel, is his delivery, his final ball. But he's produced 2 within 30 seconds there of real quality.
That was a great ball from Crook to Fox. Up goes Sutton. Ryan Giggs with crossing that's under scrutiny.
Well, normally, George Best mentioned, he hits the first man too often for me. But that time he got it in the perfect area and caused Norwich all sorts of problems. This one was more difficult, but he digs it out and it allows Robson to come in and attack the ball. And that's much better. If he could produce crosses at that time and time again, much better player, much more all-round player. Who would argue with the talent?
Half-time at Carrow. That's an indication of how successful they've been. And I'm sure Andy Gray's first task will be just to have a look and see how Norwich come out in terms of formation. Culverhouse. Norwich trying to bring Fox into the game on a regular basis and provide some sharpness from the right-hand side. The shot from Robbins, whose Manchester United connections run pretty deep, apart from being a former player at the club. He's married to the daughter of the current Manchester United chief scout, Les Kershaw.
As I said earlier in the game, these are difficult, these shots from long range with the grass as long as it is. Just gets underneath this one. Never really threatening.
Sutton trying to threaten here on any confusion between Schmeichel and Bruce. Schmeichel taking charge. Way of bravado. That's very much part of his game.
Well, they've threatened occasionally, Martin, Norwich throughout the game, but they've never been able to sustain any pressure. And that's been the thing. When United have won the ball, they've managed to keep it for long enough just to take the sting out of the game.
Well, they're being quite direct at the moment, and there's no offside here. The long ball from Culverhouse. Robbins in the clear, Sutton going to the near post now, checking out. Oh. Well, it's a corner.
Well, if the keeper got something on that, he didn't have to well. I've no doubt in my mind, Matt Robbins sees Peter Schmeichel just edge a little bit. Look at the touch by the goalkeeper. That's a quite magnificent save.
Corner to Norwich. Schmeichel goes again. But the ball had gone already out.
Told you Rob Newman was a big lad. Paul Ince felt the full weight of him there.
Did Mark Robins try and outfox the goalkeeper with his eyes here, looking across the face of the goal? Did it slice off the outside of the foot, and was it an attempted cross?
I think the way he hit it, to me, suggested it was an attempted goal. You could see from the position Peter Schmeichel had, he edged about 4 yards off his line, and Robins blasted it straight at the near post, but full marks to the goalkeeper. What a wonderful touch.
Ince challenging Norwich, and it's a free kick, a decision that he leads the applause for. There's not much applause for it around the ground. The Norwich fans are disappointed.
I think he's right. What Keane Hackett for me has done ever so well today is he's tried to allow the advantage rule at all times, but he's been big enough, if no advantages occurred, to bring it back and give the free kick.
Robson decides to move away. It's Giggs, and it was pretty dead straight, and Brian Gunn waved it goodbye.
Not quite the free kick that you and I witnessed against Blackburn at the tail end of the season, but that's what he was trying to do. But as you say, far too straight, and Brian Gunn can just watch this sail harmlessly over. But that's what United are capable of, is when they're under pressure like that. Suddenly they'll break with numbers, with pace, and before you know it, you've conceded another goal. And that's the worry for Norwich at all times.
Well, Keane just turned his back for a moment. Where the ball struck him. Giggs. We've become accustomed to Manchester United with Eric Cantona. It'll be interesting to analyse in the end how they've done without him. But Hughes for Robson, that's how they've done. They lead 2-0. Mark Hughes with a delightful touch, and Brian Robson in the right place at the right time, ramming the ball past Gunn.
You can't teach this to anyone, Mark. This is born in you. This is a magnificent example of Brian Robson at his supreme best. He loses Jeremy Goss totally. Hughes knows all about him from years gone by. Flicks it off. Robson's timed his run to perfection, and he finishes quite beautifully.
The play of champions, and it's Norwich City 0, Manchester United 2.
There you see Robson, funny enough, the 12 just gone off the screen there. He's on his way. There's the 11, Gosh. You see, not facing the ball. Hughes has a quick look. And that, how many times have you and I seen that over the years? Superb stuff.
Robson left groping there by Ian Crook. And here's Robins. Oh, and just when Norwich needed Robins to be at his sharpest in front of goal, he wasn't.
All he wanted off Mark Robins was a little wall pass. A little 1-2 was all he required. Watch this. He commits Gary Pallister. He's through now. Put it in his path. Robins, he likes to go himself, and you can see Crook's reaction to that.
Here is Robson. Irwin moving to the left, Parker to the right. And it's the Parker option that Robson selects. Hughes. A real thump to the header for reach to the save from Gunn.
Well, this cross is deflected, and it gets deflected straight into Mark Hughes' path. And this is a fine, powerful header that Brian Gunn has to be at his very best to save. Look at that from Brian Robson, and that part showing the vision that the lad has.
Newman. Angle on that, but Sutton does make something of it. Out comes Schmeichel, and Robins was first to the ball. And there might have been a chance for Will Fox to get into a better position than Robins actually finally took up. But this is where Norwich is so fearful of Manchester United. Well, there was nothing wrong, of course, with Keane's positioning, but Mark Hughes had gone offside.
That's so frustrating, it really is, Martin. You see, I can understand Roy Keane's frustration. No intention of passing this ball to Mark Hughes. You can see he's just poking it for himself, and off he goes. Mark Hughes, I think, even stops. You see him there. The linesman, rather than let it go on, is flagged for offside.
That was the type of situation Mike Walker was anxious to avoid Norwich getting into, the way he put his team together defensively from the start of this game. But the more and more signs that it's going to happen now. Kanchelskis to Parker. Hughes! He wasn't quite sure where it was going to end up. But there's the swagger of Manchester United.
I think Manchester United are just announcing to the rest of the league that if you want this league title, you're going to have to work very hard for it. But the only reason he misses this is because Ian Culver's there, or Butterworth there. He thinks he's going to head it. So it's a late reaction from Mark Hughes. Butterworth just misses ahead of there. Hughes reacts very, very late. Any other touch and it was in the net.
So Sutton has a new companion in attack. Crook trying to supply them, and Bowen as well. Crook, Ekoku. Oh, nearly the most dramatic of arrivals.
Well, you mentioned his pace, Martin, earlier on, and he certainly showed he's capable of upsetting people with that part of his game. Look how quickly he gets to the ball, but Schmeichel's very alert there.
Ekoku onside. Schmeichel, can he get there? He can. It's a lengthy clearance too, but again suddenly switching quickly from one end to another twice. And this time Giggs is able to make Manchester United really thinking about attacking with Ince. That's very well hit. An awkward height to take on his supposedly weaker foot. And it really roared into the midriff of Gunn.
Well, it's a skill of Giggs again, facing away from the goal. Nicks it across. Here you are, Paul. Fancy a little goal. As you say, he's weaker side, but he won't hit many better than that.
Oh, a mistake here. And Giggs across the goal and not into it. Back from Kanchelskis. Well, a let off for Norwich. Can they turn it to their advantage? Ekoku. Not much help for him, he's going it alone. Well, just when you were beginning to think that some early season weariness was setting in, what about Brian Robson's tackle?
Well, I mean, at the age he's at, you could be, and the injuries he's had, you could be forgiven for thinking, maybe Robbo doesn't fancy it, but are you joking? In you go, son. Not only did he throw his legs in, he throws his whole body in. And he's still alive enough to nick it to one of his own players.
Well, as I said earlier, he's playing for his place.
There you go, that's the example.
Off you go.
Wonderful.
Kanchelskis from Hughes. Robson, there's a man free, it's Giggs and the ball doesn't get there. And Robson and Kanchelskis gasping for air really and not making any attempt to get back, having made the dart forward. And here's Ekoku. Well, that could have given Norwich City some late hope. Manchester United don't give too much away, but they were opened up then. And Ekoku couldn't hit the target.
Well, this is the best chance of the game, without a doubt. A little bit of composure would have proved beneficial there. You see, Peter Schmeichel, for my mind, goes down early. And a more composed striker, I think, would have just dinked it over the top of him.
Well, the goals here coming from the oldest player in the side, Brian Robson, in his 37th year, and the youngest, 19-year-old Ryan Giggs. The champions win at Carrow Road. The first goal of their league season from Ryan Giggs after 25 minutes. Alec Ferguson would have been thrilled with the calibre of the second from Brian Robson. 12 minutes into the second half. 3 Premiership points in the bag for Manchester United from an exacting start in East Anglia. Norwich City 0, Manchester United 2.
How satisfying was it to get straight back into the winning groove?
It's nice because we finished off last season winning the last 7 games, and we needed to get going straight away this season to show everybody we're hopefully going to mean business again this season.
Ryan, how much of an inspiration is this man next to you?
Very much an inspiration. Every time he comes into the side, he adds experience, and he seems to have so much time on the ball, and he helps the other younger players.
It looked to be quite a battle out there, and yet having said that, you always look to be in the driving seat.
Yeah, we went 1 up, and we looked in control, and we tried to do the same in the second half, which we did by scoring the second goal.
Brian, your goal, a typical one by Brian Robson, in a sense, arriving late in the penalty area at exactly the right moment.
It was a great flick by Mark Hughes to see me there, and it was one of those where you just hit it, try and keep it on target and hope that goes in. Fortunately, it did this time.